my friends, welcome to Pro Strings. I'm Henriette and today is day 27. Today we are going to put together the whole of the Gavotte that we learned in day 25 and 26, but we're also going to start our consolidation of all the exercises that we've done in the whole of this book, so that by the end of our 30 days you will have developed your technique in a most impressive way. So first of all, I'm going to play you my tuning notes. Here they are. As we've established in day 25 and day 26, Gavotte is played in the key of G major, so we're going to play and warm up with a G major scale, and we're going to play the G major scale in a legato bow stroke. I want you to think about all your positions, your stance, your violin position, your finger lines, so all your knuckles are level with the E string. I want you to check over your left thumb. And then also we're going to be working on our bow hold today. So please can you check that you've got your thumb bent underneath and that your little finger is curved and on the side edge right there. Now that'll stand us in good stead. Here we go on the G major scale, and we'll play each note twice with long bows. And well done. And you may have noticed already that we were getting a little bit more flexibility and movement in our playing. You may have noticed that I was swinging forwards a little bit and backwards. And I encourage you to do the same, because we're always looking to enhance that flexibility. So feel free to move and make sure your legs are nice and relaxed when you play. Next up is the G Major Arpeggio, and we're going to play the G Major Arpeggio staccato. We haven't done that before, so today's the day, and we're going to play each note of the arpeggio twice so that we can just practice our staccato a little bit more. So we're going to start just below the middle of the bow, and this particular bow stroke that we are playing is called martelé. This is the staccato bow stroke that we've done all along. And I'll just explain to you the word staccato is the name for the sound of short notes, and the bow stroke that we're playing the staccato notes with is called martelé. So martelé is a French word. It means hammered. So you've got very short, sharp notes there. Okay, so martelé is the name of the bow stroke. Staccato is the name of the sound. So you can play staccato on all sorts of different instruments, and you can't play martelé on all sorts of instruments because it is a typical string playing term. So we're playing the arpeggio, martelé. We're going to start just below the middle. We're going to squeeze that bow like we did in day 25 and 26. And we're going to have that sudden explosion of energy. So I'll count us in. I'll count 1, 2, and that is the speed of every note of the arpeggio. Are we ready? And very well done. Now, we're going to now play an exercise that helps us get the alternate fingers going. And that is the exercise on page 34 in the Suzuki book. I'll play you the middle line, which are the notes on the A string, and I just want to point out to you that this is written in the key of A major, which has a wide gap between your first and second fingers. 1 and 2 and... that we're going to do, not necessarily as fast as that, and I want you to really think about the technique that you are using in your left hand, and that is when you place a second finger on the A string, your first finger comes down as well. Okay, let's do it slowly and I'll talk you through. So, A, both fingers on, 1, now both fingers on the second and third finger, both fingers on the third and fourth finger, and try it again in this section, both fingers down, both fingers down, and both fingers down. Now before you carry on with the semiquaver notes as printed in your book, make sure, please, that you get used to getting those fingers down at the same time. Don't go any faster if you can't yet do that. Okay, so work a little bit more in slow mode to get the technique right, because if you get used to not playing more fingers on the string, it's very hard to then add that aspect of your technique later on. So keep slow. Please, if you can't put your two fingers together. Shall we do that again? The first 2 bars of the middle line on page 34, exercise number 1. And both fingers down together. Take away 1. Put 2 fingers down together. Take away 1. 2 fingers down together. And again. 2 fingers down. 2 fingers. Well done. Yes, that's how it goes. And you may have found it quite difficult to play the 3rd and 4th fingers together. So let's practice that a little bit extra, shall we? So I'm starting on the 2nd finger, and then I'm going to play the 3rd and 4th finger down together like that. And this is what we're going to be practicing. So the 2nd finger stays on the string. In fact, the 1st and 2nd finger stay on the string. Here we go. And 3 and 4 together. And again. Good. Now leave your fingers down for a moment on the string and let's just check your thumb. Is your thumb nice and loose? Okay, and we'll do the same exercise again. 2, 4. And 3 and 4 together. That's it. 3 and 4 together. Well done. In violin playing we often do things and we practice the pieces in the here and now, so we practice the pieces that you're currently learning, but at the same time we're extending your technique to what will come beyond what you're doing now. So we're practicing this exercise because of what's coming later on. So good work getting your technique geared up. Okay, for those of you who already have mastered this, of course we have got a large audience from all over the world, and there are people who find this really challenging still. That's absolutely fine, that's okay. And there are people who are a little bit further advanced. That's also good. And for them I'm playing this whole exercise a bit faster, so you can play it with me from the beginning of the middle line and when you're playing this at home, you can have a go at the same exercise on the D string, which is the 3rd line, and on the E string as well, which is the 1st line. Well done everyone. Let's go on to Gavotte now, and let's play the whole song. Now when we play the whole song, we're going to play it with all the repeats and with a da capo. You know that after 2 lines, you go back to the beginning, play that section again. Then you play line 3 and line 4, and then when you get to bar 17, you keep going again, although the music, the character of the music changes there from staccato to legato. Then we repeat the line which starts from bar 17 and the next line as well. And then we go on to bar 25 and we repeat that lower section before we then pick it up from the beginning again, and we'll play in one go, so without a repeat, from the beginning to bar 16. So when we play the Gavotte again, bear in mind that we're now back in the key of G major, so we haven't got that wide gap. Yes, we've got it once, but usually we'll play the 2nd finger close together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I am super pleased with that, and I'm hoping that you have been able to keep up with me all that time. Now, it might have been that things happened along the way, and that's perfectly fine, because at this level of your playing, this is quite a long piece when you played with all the repeats and with the da capo. So well done for keeping going. Now, let me give you some hints and tips as a bit of troubleshooting. We have gone over all the detailed technical aspects of this piece in days 25 and 26, and today I just want to think a little bit more about what can possibly go wrong. Of course, this is a long piece, so it might be that by about halfway this piece your shoulder is really tired, or your bow arm is really tired, and that's a matter of building up stamina. So you will be able, if you practice frequently, like every day, after a while start to build up some stamina. Okay, so what I usually say to my pupils if they get really tired, play the violin more often, because you will build stamina and it will get easier after a while. Of course, it might be that you're playing with a very strong left hand and you want to try and make it a little bit softer as you go along. That comes with progress as well, but you can, for instance, take a break after 2 lines and just check if your thumb is nice and loose, if your shoulder is not stuck in that position. I was talking earlier about getting that flexibility in your legs, and your legs are large, very large muscles. So if there is tension in your legs, in the larger muscles, it will feed up to your fingers eventually. And so what I usually say, if you find you're playing with too much tension, play in your socks, for instance, or in bare feet, and try to build your looseness, your relaxation from the bottom up. So you go and be more relaxed in your feet, then in your legs, then in your torso as well, and that will feed back into your shoulders and arms. So that is one thing I'd say. This piece is inviting you to play with more tension. So it's no wonder if you feel more tired after this piece, because of all the staccato notes that you're playing. Again, I'd say practice more often, maybe for short periods of time, and you will build the stamina, and you will be able to relax more as well. But the trick is also to find moments in your music where you can relax. And luckily this piece has got lots of rests where you might be able to relax. So you might play the beginning like this. And then take a moment just to do that, and to make sure that you're nice and relaxed before you then move on. And it's this awareness that you're building of constantly making sure that everything is nice and relaxed, which is going to help you in the future as well. So when you're playing this at home, build in frequent moments where you relax, and then your relaxation will be easier to achieve. So we're using the rests to relax, and that's a good thing. Another good thing in this piece which might help you is that you're always thinking ahead. We've practiced that in our previous lessons as well, that we stopped in between sections and then we're thinking what techniques we were going to use in the bars afterwards. So perhaps I can refresh your memory on that, and take frequent breaks and think, what are the techniques that I'm going to use in the next bar? And that will help you as well in your playing. Now someone might say, but my tone is so scratchy, what can I do about it? And that's a perfectly valid point. When you play staccato, there is a risk that your tone gets a bit scratchier, because you're going to put more tension in your bow. So if you play staccato notes, what you want to do is, as well as putting that tension on, see if you can release the tension. And we have talked about this explosion of energy before. And what you might try and do is to relax more as you go. And this is a very good exercise, and perhaps you can do this with me now. Pressing the bow into the string so the stick touches the hair. And I'm in the middle of the bow, by the way. On the A string I am. Putting the tension on. And you might just practice this. Come up on your tippy toes and release the tension in your fingers as well. Here, off your bow hand. Now we're going to put the pressure on. So I'm going to go back on my feet. And now come up and release that tension. And you get a sort of floaty feel back into the string. Put your feet down as well and release. and that will help your staccato as well. If you go it's a good idea to really actively think about that relaxation there. What else might we come across? You might think, oh, my tone is also a bit scratchy because I accidentally go like this. And then you don't get a good sound here. And that is because your bow's not quite straight. So you might want to check if this is you. Might check that your bow is actually straight in front of you and play the staccato. And you can see if I do it wrong, and I don't get the grip on the string as my bow is sideways. So we've talked about in our earlier lessons about pushing that bow arm forward is still valid today as well. Okay, we haven't talked much about intonation, playing in tune, and it might be that you find yourself playing out of tune because the notes are going so much faster, like that. And all you can do about that is test with open strings, and I can't say that enough. Whenever people are struggling with intonation, test, test, test with open strings. So you might go here. Your third fingers can always check with the open strings whether they are in tune. So here. I can check it again just to see if that note is matching the D string really nicely. Okay, of course that's also the case in the beginning. Your first note you might go and then play. Am I still in tune? Am I still in tune here? Here's a good one to test as well. That third finger on the D string should match with an open G string. And it's actually quite a good exercise, and we can do that now. You can join me by deliberately playing out of tune. Look, I'm pushing that third finger on the D string away, and I'm going to see if that doesn't match. And I'm going too flat. The geography of the fingerboard. You know where your fingers are going to go after a while if you're always playing in tune. So take it really slowly. It is no disgrace at all if you play very slowly and practice intonation. That will help it a great deal. So I'd encourage you to do that very frequently as well. And I think we have covered most of the things that you might possibly come across in this piece with that. So please do write in the comments box below if there is anything else that you've come across that you want an answer to. So do ask questions in the text box below and I will come back to you on that, I promise. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so now because we have got an exciting day 28 coming up soon where we will be consolidating all the things that we've learned in the whole book. So I look forward to seeing you then. Goodbye.